Hi, this is Barrett Powell. I'm a broker owner of the RE/MAX Southern Advantage Company here in Pittsburgh, North Carolina. And as an ex-Hewlett-Packard and ex-IBMer, I was involved in technologies at both companies. And the first thing I noticed when I got into real estate a few years ago were that a number of applications that we need to use are either proprietary, meaning that the companies that develop them own the data and own the applications, or they are costly and very difficult to use, or all three. So I went, first thing I did is I went looking for a contact management system that was based on industry standards and didn't get me locked into any one system, and was also relatively inexpensive. And coming from IBM, we worked with a lot of open source or free software. These are applications that are released to the community for free by commercial companies, and the reason they do this is because there are people out there that develop a lot of add-on applications for these programs that allow them to expand their reach. So for instance, they may do things like translate the application into a foreign language or write some kind of unique application for it. So anyway, let's get started. So this is the intro screen. Everything is web-based, so I actually logged into the system in my browser. It is internet-facing, meaning you can get access to it from anywhere in the world in a secure environment. But because it runs in a server, you can actually just stick it on a little computer in your own office and run it that way as well for all of your agents to use. But like I said, the system is free. So looking over here, it understands things like leads, and this is my little intro screen. And notice over here I can add additional applications to this entry screen. So there are a number of applications such as campaigns and things that I can add. I can add charts so that if I want to look at, for instance, what my pipeline is, either as a manager or as an individual agent, I can do that. So there's a lot of really neat things that you can add to the application, again, totally for free. Anyway, looking at transactions, again, I set it up so that it understood real estate, and so it understands leads, properties, contacts, for instance, and this is what the contact screen looks like. And this is the search function at the top where you can search for a particular contact, and then down here on the bottom is the results of a particular search if you're looking for a contact. So let's just look at Dwayne and Rebecca Porter, for instance, and on their screen you'll notice that I can put things like the property name, if I have a special name for the property they're buying or selling, the lead source. I've got set up a number of different lead source options such as Lead Street or your website, so you can track where leads come from. I don't have a campaign started for this person. They're a seller. I didn't set up a campaign yet, but if I did, a campaign would show up here. Contact method, I can have things like customer mailings, to give them or to mail them a Christmas card or things like that, what kind of property type they're interested in. The file room folder, which I'll come back to in just a minute, this is where all their contracts reside, who the assigned agent is, the primary address of the property, and other information which I do need to add about this person just to kind of keep up with them. Also notice down on the bottom I can keep track of things like activities, any history with this client. Also, if there were any additional leads, such as they were looking at buying or selling another piece of property. Opportunities, which is kind of neat. I like opportunities because it allows me to track either a listing or a sale by the opportunity name. I can assign it to a particular buyer seller, what the type is, if they're an existing or new business, again what the lead source was, how they came, either from Lead Street or Agent on Duty or however, the amount that it's valued at, and the sales stage, whether it's prospecting or needs a CMA or whatever, and then the percent of closing and the expected close date. And all this allows me later on to track my opportunities and kind of see where I am on those particular opportunities. But if I click on the file room folder section, it will actually take me to their file folder where I store things like listing extensions, or I can store all their contracts and documents, for that particular client. And that's a real good feature too, which I'll go into in a later session, is the online file room that is available on the web as well. I know there are a lot of people out there that are looking at Dane Maxwell's paperless pipeline and things like this. This is another free application that we'll talk about that allows you to do that. So I can track contacts, opportunities, existing clients. Notice under the agent tools, I've got things like forums, and forums are where, if I'm within a company, I can post information such as general questions. Instead of having to send an email out to everyone in the company, I can just post questions here. If I need help, if I've got a property that's looking for a buyer, I'd post it here. If I've got a client looking for a particular property, I would post it here. And so it kind of frees up your email and allows you to post information and post back and forth without having to tie up your email client. Also embedded in the system is what I call an RSS feed, and this particular one I've got set up to look for real estate news items. So here's a feed from our National Association of Realtors. Here's a feed from PR Web Real Estate, and I can set up as many. There's thousands of these feeds, and I just did a search and picked up the first two. But this is a way you can keep your company and agents appraised on what's going on within the industry. And then I've got the file room, which you already know about. This is a embedded file system where I keep all of my documents and contracts and things like that, and it's an online system, so we'll talk about it a little bit later. Then I've got my social networks also in the system. So right here in one place, I can keep up with all of my social networking needs, and all my systems for social networking. I can click on them and log into them from right here. And then this other system is called video conferencing, and again, this is much like your GoToMeeting.com and your other WebEx and systems like that. But unlike those, this system is again free. It's based on public domain applications that are totally free, meaning that I can host up to 20 people at one time, and I can either host the meeting or join a meeting. If I've got this loaded on my own server, I can have an unlimited number of people on actual video conferencing, where I can share my screen to share listing information, or I can do a presentation right here. Then under marketing, I've got campaigns, which everyone is familiar with how campaigns work. You assign particular campaigns to either groups or to contacts or clients or prospects or leads within a system, and it'll launch the campaigns and automatically send emails or whatever I need. And then under activities, again, this system is very similar to Outlook, and it's got your calendar and emails. It'll even track calls, so when you need to make a phone call, you could track what's going on in the calls, meetings, task notes. The system is actually very, very complete, and it also allows you to integrate with things like Outlook. If you also want to keep the system integrated with Outlook, you can do that as well. So anyway, that's a quick look at the system. If you'd like to get more information on it or interested in it, just drop me an email at Barrett, B-A-R-R-E-T-T, Senior, S-R, at embark, E-M-B-A-R-Q, mail, M-A-I-L.com, or call me on my mobile at 919-434-9830, and I'll be more than happy to share how to set the system up for your company, and again, how to make use of the application. Thanks.